Hi, I'm Greg McCone. I work with IT service management and improving the quality of IT services delivered to our organization. And I wanted to share a story about effective use of visual management and a visual management tool with you. So the concept of visual management is you make things visible so that people can, at a glance, tell how things are going. We had an issue related to our existing service documentation not matching up to our desired service documentation. And so we needed a bunch of design documents in place in order to be assured that services were designed well, and therefore that they could be delivered well. So what we had was a bunch of libraries of documents, and people didn't necessarily go and look at them, and that's fine. The idea is they're there if they're needed. But we didn't necessarily have a way to bring all that together. So what we came up with, what I designed, was a directory that linked to the documents in each library. So I'll give you an example. We had a service level agreement library. We had a quick reference guide library that informed our service desk. We have an online business-facing service catalog for our customers, and that's full of entries for our services. We have a technical service catalog catalog that is for internal use within IT, and we have a repository for storing technical documents that can be shared. So we had those 5 elements really well established, and we were inviting the service design owners to go ahead and publish these. So with this listing, we were able to link to all 5 of those items. And the way we presented it was, if there was no link, there was this big ugly blank space. So as we went down our list of 345, I think it is now, services, you would see the title of the SLA, and you could click on it and go right to that service level agreement. So instantly you could find all of our SLAs, one page, without even going to the SLA library. So the SLAs, the QRGs, the service design owners, all of these elements were listed in one place, and this has become a more and more popular location for people to visit as the information becomes more complete. So what we realized is we could count this because some of these documents need to meet a measure of approval, a certain standard before they're published. We had high confidence that if they were published, they were good enough to count as complete. And so for our SLAs, our quick reference guides, we were able to award a score if the document existed. So by counting those 5 most important documents, we were able to give all of our services a score out of 5. So instantly, we had a score of something like 1.85 out of 5, and we knew where we stood overall. We had a nice number that we could bounce off of leaders and share with them very quickly how we were doing. As we began to identify more and more services which we needed to track that were provided by a third-party organization, we realized that our score was being dragged down as our organization and our staff worked hard to make sure that things were documented correctly. The other organization wasn't as engaged. And so we separated out those scores, and we were able to illustrate that our organization's scores were holding even, while the other organization's scores were significantly lower. So we were able to include these scores, just counting the documents, are they there or not, in regular reporting to directors in our organizations. And after about 6 weeks, so maybe 3 reports, we got a question about what's this score and why does our organization have a lower score than yours? And so this was, at first, a little scary, looked like a challenge, but we realized, hey, this is an opportunity. We have a decision maker asking what the score is and asking, implying, how do I improve my score? So we were able to explain it. That a well-defined service is typically well documented, that if the documents are there, the design is probably there too, and the quality goes up. Fewer incidents, fewer failures and problems, more consistent delivery in terms of time frames and customers getting things when they expect to. So we were able to quickly make that case, articulate that clearly, and what followed was a series of meetings with the third-party organization, trying to find out how to get a higher score. So we just stuck to the script and kept explaining that the score comes with the documentation, and that if it was documented, that they'd have no problems. So what we've been receiving is we've been receiving access to documentation for that third-party organization that we didn't have previously. And we were able to accept some of their documents as being roughly equivalent to ours. So we've been watching both scores going up recently. One more thing that we've done is when we publish a document for a service, we thank the service design owner or their representative for their work. We tell them what the score is for their service, and then we tell them the next step to improve the score for their service. So this has been pretty positive. We're constantly showing people the way forward, and they're responding fairly well. So I was happy to see our score jump from 1.88 to 1.90 this morning when I crunched the numbers. And the other organization has seen their score go from 1.11 to 1.14. So that's been a real victory for us. And we know that people don't have a lot of spare cycles. They're busy. They're good people. They're working hard. And in some cases, these things just got missed. So we're trying to make it as pain-free as possible for them. So, for example, when we solicit service level agreements, we typically only ask for one per service design owner. So there might be 5 services out there that are missing an agreement, but in a case like that, we just ask for the first one. Once that one's done, we'll ask for the second one. So this way we don't freak them out. For quick reference guides, which are one-pager, we just give them a list. You know, here's the 10 quick reference guides service desk needs in order to know about your services. So that's worked really, really well. So I wanted to give you that example. We made it visible so people could see it in the directory. We made the visible artifact useful so it helps them find information they need. And then by virtue of coming to that useful resource and seeing the gaps visibly on the screen in front of them, and then getting a score, which is just a friendly count. I mean, we're not speaking to the quality of their work, just whether it exists or not. And being able to report in aggregate, so there's no fear of being singled out there. We've had a lot of success with making this work for improving the service documentation that we have for our services. Thanks for listening. I hope that's helpful information for you. Take care. I'm Greg McCohen, and I hope that was helpful to teach you a little bit about what we've learned with IT service management. Cheers.